I'm so excited to bring you day 3. We are talking revenue, how to set your podcast up to make big old fat revenue. Are you ready? Because this one, you're going to want to grab a pen and paper and an open mind because you can truly make big money from your little tiny show with the right strategy. And I'm about to give you that. Let's do this. Welcome to the podcast about podcasting, where you guessed it, we're talking all things podcasting, but not just in the sense of strategy of how to launch, grow, and monetize your show. Of course, you're going to get that, but we're going deep into how podcasting can actually help you build your community, build your confidence, and if you're willing to lean deep into this platform, it can be the ticket to the life of your dreams, because it'll inspire you to go deeper, to get to know yourself. And as we know, success starts from within. If you are ready to stop being a ripple in this world and bust out your tsunami of change you know you were made for, it's podcasting for your soul. I'm your host, Jen Dragonette, so let's dig in. Money is a hard topic for a lot of us, and there's a lot of wounds around money. And when you start talking money and you start talking money in your business, this is a sticky point that I've had. This is a sticky point that my clients have had. How do we price things? Let's drop in for a minute. Let's just take a moment to just take a deep breath, one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly, take some breaths in. Money is a hard topic. Money makes a lot of people feel unsafe. And deep breath in. And that unsafeness is actually an unsafeness inside your body. Money is energy. There's an energetic exchange. And it's something we put a value on. And I want you to just think of money as your best friend. I had an amazing woman that came on my podcast. So I had a whole money series. If you guys have missed it, if you're struggling with money, I've got a whole variety of people that I can have, so I can help you with your money stories. But she's like, think about it as your money honey. So as your significant other. And truly think about that money as something that's supporting you. You're supporting it. It's safe to have money. It's safe to be in your body. It's safe to be abundant. It's safe to manifest. It's safe to charge. And I know that as soon as that dollar bill gets exchanged, what happens is that immediate, for many of us that haven't done the work, that immediate red flag, warning, these people are going to ask for a refund. I'm not going to be able to deliver. That imposter syndrome sets in. And this is one of the things that makes me truly sad for myself and for others. And why my podcast is called Feed Your Business with Love is because it is a self-love issue. When there's not this inner peace, this inner safety, nothing outside feels safe. You know your stuff. You know the crap out of your stuff. You are good at what you do, but you doubt yourself as soon as that dollar bill. So you overgive. Hey, I'm raising my hand because this is me. This has been me. This is not my story anymore, which is why I have changed my pricing for 2023. I do give, that I give, that I pour in, but there's a certain point that now I'm saying I let people get to a certain point with me for free. And then I do have that conversation about money, and I'm not afraid of those people not liking it, disappearing. So that being said, I want to just get started in day 3. I just wanted us to feel in our body that we're safe. I'm probably going to come back in the middle of this and do another drop into your body because I truly, honestly feel and believe that you need to get a hold of that inner peace with money to be successful. So how do we plan a podcast with money in mind? We're talking money today, guys, and money is a scary topic for many, and I don't want it to be scary for you. We've talked about clarity. We've talked about our P's, including our people, and now we want to resuscitate our revenue. So what we're talking about today is our goals for our podcast, our offer, our customer journey. These are all very important. And again, the CPR is what most podcasters forget, which keeps them broke and leads to pod fade and falling out of the thing. So let's talk about some goals. Every podcast, every podcaster, every person has different goals. We can't look around and assume that there's a certain goal. This is one of the reasons why when you buy one of my courses or my masterminds that you get one-on-one attention. There is nothing that I offer right now that doesn't have a one-on-one component because everyone has different goals. So I want you to start thinking about, okay, what are my goals for my podcast? And I want you to, before you just start rattling off these, I want this many downloads and that many downloads and this many this and that, whatever it is, I want you to again, sink into your body and be okay with the slow build. Legacies take a while to build. This is not going to give you the ego hit that social media is going to give you. It's just not. Period. End of story. I wish it did, but it's not going to scratch your back as much as social media when it comes to those ego dopamine hits. It's a slower build. It doesn't mean that you can't profit from the beginning. Again, I had a client that came out the gate. She launched her podcast. By the third episode, she sold to someone that she didn't know from her show into her membership. It's possible with the right strategy. But I want you to think about, what is the goal of your podcast? Is your podcast your sales funnel? Okay, great. Your goal for your podcast is to make money. Number one. Number two, your goal for your podcast is to serve a wider audience that might not be able to afford your services. Maybe that's part of your goal, because not everyone is ready to make the commitment to work with you, right? It may not be that they can't afford it, but maybe in their mind, because I don't truly believe we can't afford things, because when things pop up that we truly need, like if my dog did something dumb and I had to pay for surgery, you better bet your booty that I would do anything in my power. There's that urgency, there's that desire. So most people can find the money, find a way, find a payment plan. If you're somebody who has really high ticket things, there's some great companies that work with you that you can actually get your people to finance through them. And the percentage is actually a smaller percent than those that fall off of long-term payment plans. So you actually get the money up front and minus their percentage. But let me tell you, in the long run, you make a lot more, you get a lot more income into your bank account, and you're not constantly fighting people for monthly payments. That's their job, and it's totally worth it. So anyways, side tip, because we're talking money today. But what's your real goal for your podcast? I mean, I want to know, what's your goal, your revenue goal for your podcast? What is your reach goal? And I don't want you to focus on these, because here's the thing. Download numbers, although they matter, I would rather have 100 listeners every episode that listen to my entire episode and buy my things than I would 10,000 downloads an episode where no one's buying. And it frustrates me more than anything, because I keep having companies reach out to me that are like, buy the service, I can guarantee you 5,000 to 10,000 downloads an episode. And I reach back out to them and I say, who are these people coming in? Oh, don't worry, they're real humans. Well, are they real humans that are willing to buy my service? Or are they real humans that you have paid that are in your network, that they just literally put the podcast on and let it run in the background, and every time they listen to a full episode, you give them money? That's not going to help you grow. Does that make your numbers look better? Yeah. If you're somebody who is going after sponsors, this is again with your goal, then that might be something you want to think about, is getting those numbers really high. But for the little podcaster, the podcaster that doesn't want to pay for fake listens, doesn't want to have to wait to actually make money, sponsorship is not always the best thing. The one exception to that rule for sponsors is that if you have a micro niche, and I am talking about super micro niche, like the climbers of Yosemite's El Capitan, women climbers of El Capitan, in their 30s, like super micro niche. They're only climbing that one wall. They're only climbing at that one location. And there's some sort of a climbing company at the bottom that, I don't know, makes it easier for them. If you have that micro of a niche, that company that is specific to those one people are willing to look at, okay, you have 100 people that are listening to your show. Here's a sponsorship package. So that's the one exception of the rule. Something for, I don't know, Australian shepherds, and it's something very specific, and your whole show is about Australian shepherds, and they are for their hair, and it only works for these dogs. You might be able to partner with a company that is just for Australian shepherds, even on a small download number. But if you're thinking for something bigger, so a food company, a chocolate company, any of those kind of things, if you want to get paid for sponsorships, you do have to get those download numbers. The other thing to think about is affiliates. Affiliates you can put on there at any point. I have a couple of clients that are in Modere, and their episodes are always sponsored by one of the specific products. And we've talked about it, and we have changed the product instead of like weight loss and all of those kind of things, because that's not what their show is about. Their shows are mostly about business building. We've changed them into this supplement helps with brain health, with alertness. This is how this helps you show up in your business better. So it's all about thinking about that goal and how you're going to make the money. Sadly, 80% of podcasters don't make money from their show, and it doesn't have to be you. Period. End of story. It doesn't have to be you. The biggest issue is you have not established your thing, or you offer too many things. This I see all the time. I am a manifesting generator. I have the same problem. If you are all over the place, it's really hard to have that micro focused, that micro niched show. In the beginning, while you're growing, at least until you hit 1,000 downloads an episode, I really do recommend, if you want the growth and you want the success that I know you have in your mind and the revenue, you got to have a micro niche on your show. Again, as you grow, you can get bigger. Look at some of the big people, Joe Rogan, all those other people. It takes time though. The more niche down you are in the beginning, the faster growth, the faster you'll establish yourself. So pick one offer that you truly want to go from your show. So for me, on my Cure for Podfade show, I chose to go with launch for a while, all things podcast launch. And those all led into my do-it-yourself course. That, of course, has a one-on-one aspect to it, because I don't let people come into my space without actually having a conversation with them. Maybe someday that'll be different. But I focused all on things that people needed to launch their podcast. What I found is that wasn't what I wanted to do. So now I'm focused on growth and making money. My sales method for that is that they can either come into grabbing an accelerator, which is a 1-month accelerator, where it's a one-on-one call with me every day, and Voxer support for 30 days. And I really watch their podcasts. I watch their trends. I help them with the SEO. Like, I do all the digging in. Or if they're not sure what they need from me, they come into a CPR audit, a free audit. So that's my sales funnel from my podcast, is my podcast. And then I offer the CPR call, or sometimes I'm like, I'm having a special for this episode only on my accelerator. Do you have a show that, is struggling to grow, that isn't making money? Join me for 1 month where I am in your business. I am in your space. We meet weekly. You have weekly homework. We do the work. We dig into your SEO, we dig into your strategy, and we fix whatever's not working. We see what's working, what's not working, and we fix the trends for this week only. And then I put that in there. So for that amount of time, for that week, I'm going to be talking about accelerated growth, accelerated ways to make money. And then if someday I want to go back to talking about launch, I'll do a series of time during a certain amount of time that'll lead into my do-it-yourself course. So that's really something that you have to start thinking about is establish your one thing and take some time with it. 1 week, because I'm established, I can do a 1 week sale. But when you're not established, I recommend no less than 4 weeks of talking about the same thing that leads into your offer. We'll talk about this more tomorrow about like the sale part of podcast selling, but I always want you to be thinking offer first if your goal was to make money with your show. So if you have an offer, then think of that first and then work backwards. That brings us to signature offer. Come up with that one signature offer that you want to offer through your show. My signature offer, it was my mastermind, but I'm realizing that I love the mastermind aspect. I love getting to know people. But what I realized is that people truly have unique businesses. And until you're to a certain point, one-on-one is more important. That's why it's now the accelerator is my signature offer. It's one-on-one. I haven't grown so big for my breaches yet that I can't do one-on-one offers. Maybe you're beyond the one-on-one offer and you're offering a coaching program. Just focus on it. I do recommend, if possible, having a signature offer that is open enrollment, that is evergreen, meaning that if you have a mastermind, trying to set up your mastermind so that people can come in at any time, so you can really deconstruct that offer to have your show feed it. Even if that's your show to a discovery call to a sale, your people from your podcast, if you do podcast sales correctly, are red hot leads that are ready to buy. They might just have a few questions for you directly. And you can do that 2 ways. You can do that through a sales call. You can do that through having them on for an interview, or you can do something like SpeakPipe and you have them ask you a question and then leave their email, and then you can reach out to them and create that conversation. It's all about having that finding a way to get them to have an actual conversation with you. But I have also sold directly from my show. I've had people pop up into my launch programs and I'm like, who are you? Where did you come from? I had one person come into my mastermind that I had no idea who they were. They literally came from my show, paid the $2,200 and just showed up in my mastermind. I was like, who are you? Hello. Hi. Nice to meet you. So again, we were talking about your deconstructing your signature process. So my signature process is what I call my deity method. So whether you're in my launch programs or you're in my masterminds or you're in my one-on-ones, I have a signature process and it's deity. So it's discover, embody, inspire, and inform, transform in the transaction, your legacy. That is my signature offer. That is the process we go through. It's the same as the CPR. Like CPR fits into deity because it's clarity, people, revenue. Same thing, but different. So deconstruct your signature offer and start thinking about it in pieces. So if you have a mastermind that goes on for 3 months, what are the pieces inside of there? Because we're looking for micro wins inside your program that we can use for content. So the biggest issue is that podcast focus, not on offer focus. So the biggest issue that most people have why they're not making money is you focus on the podcast content, but you're not working backwards. You're not working from your offer focus, taking micro nuggets that can move your listener along the line and move and become warm, hot leads. So here's the one thing that I see a lot of people, again, we're talking money, that a lot of people are afraid of, that I'm giving away too much. Well, if you truly do the session, this boot camp, you will be able to have almost everything you need, except for my eyes on your specific business. I bring the cow over, I milk the cow, and I put it on your table for you. But then I take the cow back, because you don't have me to keep milking, right? So you have to do the work on your own. You got to find your cow. You've got to do all those things. Truly, if somebody is in my space, you know that I'm going to serve. You know that I'm going to deliver. You know that you're probably going to get more than what you signed up for. That's just how I am. I offer what I offer, I over deliver. It is. So in this podcast focus, you're so afraid to give away your pieces that you're just focusing on the fluff, the stories. You're not helping your client move along. You're not helping your client relate. So you need to get really good at storytelling, offering baby step wins, micro step wins that lead towards your offer. Again, we deconstruct, we work backwards. Here's your offer. Let's deconstruct it. Now let's feed that into a podcast. So what is that journey for your customer? Because that's really what it's about. That's why I love my Feed Your Business with Love show, having a jack of all trades and everybody coming in and out. And it monetized. It did. It truly did. Because I had to do for that show. It was still bringing in 90% of my business. It also built my confidence, built my self-esteem. Podcasting is not just a business strategy. It truly will help you with your self-confidence, help you with your connections, help you with all the things. But what is your customer's journey? How do they find your podcast? What do they get per episode? What's going to keep them coming back? So the stages along their journey are going to be step 1, which is that micro content. This is your show. This is your cold audience. This is your serving with love. Cold, cold, cold. How do you get people into this step? SEO, collabs, sharing on social. Yes, I don't like social, but if you've already built a network there, don't not use it. Paid ads, word of mouth. The next stage is they start walking along the path with you. They get to know you. They're starting to get a little bit warmer. So oh my goodness, now you're a consistent podcaster because you've listened to Jen and you're like, okay, I know I can't just show up willy-nilly when I want to. They're starting to make you part of their routine. This is where you get to start inviting them into your space. Again, like we were talking about, is what's the second step? They're listening to your show. This could be the second step you can invite them into a DIY offer. You can invite them to your community. You can invite them to have a conversation with you. You don't have to have an elaborate sales funnel. I do recommend having an email list. I really do. But I don't believe that you always have to have freebies, period, in the story. For me, step 1 is my podcast. All the stuff that I've set up. Step 2, they're getting used to me. And I do, again, events, courses, and discovery calls. And I have been doing some research in here because, of course, I want to give you what I know. And I have found that in the podcast community, if you have the right content, I went too far. If you have the right content dripping out to warm up your leads, that I have seen people sell their courses and their memberships of over $5,000 without a sales call. From here, they're so excited. They go to a sales page and they purchase. Know that this doesn't have to be hard. I have a mentor that I follow that I love, and she's given up almost all of social media, minus her Facebook community, because there's still not anything that's comparable to Facebook community. And she literally goes podcast to her programs. And then a couple times a year, she goes podcast to her events, and that's it. And then once you get people into here, then you just take them along the third step and your hot lead becomes your clients. So you serve, you support them. And then guess what happens? They love you. They refer people. I do have a referral program. I offer 20% to my clients of people who come in. So if somebody comes into my space and you refer them, you get 20% of whatever they purchase. Does that seem like a huge hit for me? Yeah, but that also means I get to skip step 1, 2, and go right to 3. And for me, it's worth that. And even when it is like 20% of my $5,000 packages, that's a big hefty chunk of change that I just Venmo right over to you or PayPal right over to you. It's pretty awesome. But this is the stages of their journey. So I really want you to think about what your customer journey is. Do you have them coming from your show into a Facebook community, from a Facebook community into an event, into this, into that, into this, and then they can come back over here and they're just stuck in this circle. They're circling and circling and circling and circling. We don't want that. We want it to be a journey with an endpoint of being with you. Some people will never get past these two steps because they're not ready to say yes to themselves to get to the next level. Maybe your teaching style isn't theirs. I am a total fire hose. So sometimes people are like, oh, I like this micro content. Oh, crap. I got into an event. So this is scary. I don't want to launch this. And then all of a sudden they're like, nope, I'm going back this way. So think about your journey and know not everyone's going to get to stage 3, but if you can get a lot of them at least hanging out in this area, as they learn from you, as it helps their business, they're going to start talking about you because you're top of mind. So you mean even into here and in here, you want people word of mouth, spreading those referrals. So your homework is, what is your signature process? Not your signature program, your signature process. Like mine is the deity. So discover, embody, inform and inspire, transform your legacy. That's my process. What's one step that you can create micro content for? For me, the discover process is huge. The transform and the transaction process is huge. Those are the two that I spend the most time on in my podcast that drives leads. And then what's your customer's journey? Tomorrow, we're going to talk about podcast selling without being skeezy. And yes, this is my word, skeezy. I don't use sleazy. Everybody's, what the heck does that mean? It's a Genism, skeezy. And I think other people use it too, but people always are like, you spelled that wrong. And I'm like, no, it's skeezy. So podcast selling without feeling skeezy. And this will be good for you whether you have your own show or you're getting on those collabs. It's selling without being skeezy. There's a way to do it. I see it from my show all the time. I see the people that immediately get success from sales, and I see the people that their episodes don't get listened to very far and they don't see sales. And I've watched this hundreds and hundreds of times, so I know what I'm talking about. That's what I have for you today. But let's get you super crystal clear today so that you can blow up in 2023. Wait, I don't like the word blow up. So that you can grow and make that big money in 2023. Okay, let's go.